everyone, and welcome to the Podcast by Army podcast, where we talk about BTS, Army, fandom, and research. We are your co-hosts, Dr. Kate Ringland and
Jhertau, a university researcher.
And today is Jimin's birthday special.
Happy birthday, Jimin!
Happy birthday!
Once you gym in, you can't gym out.
Woo!
Woo! We're in this for life.
That's right.
I love Jimin. He's our little angel. Our cutest little cutie patootie pie. Our most adorable. You know, there's a nickname that from K Armies that calls Jimin, I think, 3-layer wheat field because his hair is so luxurious.
Wow.
Listeners, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 3-layer wheat field. And there's like this one picture of like his hair that's like flowing back, and it's so full and luxurious and beautiful. And I'm like, wow, that's like a strong head of hair. Yeah. Also, this is my agenda, but I believe Jimin was born blonde, came out of the womb blonde. Blonde Jimin is our savior.
I see how it's gonna be.
But yeah, happy birthday, Jimin! We love you so much. And we're gonna jump straight into our favorite songs and music from Jimin. Of course, he has so many beautiful and wonderful songs with his beautiful voice, by the way. What a voice. But I am making the very tough decision to say, I think I'm pretty sure my favorite Jimin song is Serendipity. Full version, mind you. Full version. Because it is the most magical, beautiful, in-love experience you can have when you listen to that song. Oh my god, there's this one reaction video on YouTube where this guy is reacting to the Serendipity music video, and like Jimin, there's that one part where he like lifts the covers up and he's there, and then the guy is, I think, I just turned gay. Or like, he's like, yeah, that's a beautiful man right there. And I'm just like, that is the most real experience of watching anything related to Jimin. The music video is beautiful and the song is beautiful, and thus combined together, it is just beauty. It's love. It's so loving and so warm as a song. I've talked about like the physical experience of listening to music before, but when I think of Serendipity, I think of a warm peachy color, and it is like, it's like the most pleasant color on your eyes ever. It's very soft and subtle, and it doesn't hurt your eyes when you look at it. That's what I think of when I see Serendipity. And oh my god, this song, the lyrics, oh my god. Kate, hold on, I have no favorite lyric from here. It's all my favorite lyrics, okay? The I'm your calico cat that came to meet you, a bar, okay? Ever since the universe was created, everything has been destined. Just let me love you. And it's like, it's almost like he's saying that he's loved you and he's meant to love you, and the universe created itself so that we could love each other. And it's how romantic. Oh my god. Literally, don't talk to me if you're not Park Jimin. That's the truth. Oh, also preface everyone, Doolset Bangtan. DOOLSET Bangtan. BANGTAN. Doolset Bangtan. That's where we're getting the lyrics for everything, by the way. Just so you know. But oh my god, this song, we can just leave it to fate. We can feel it even if we don't talk. Our connection is deeper than words. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's just let me love you, and it's beautiful. And I love Serendipity so much. But I'll pass it over. I'll pass it over to you really quick. How do you feel about this song?
It's funny. No, I agree with you. It's all the feels. Yeah. It's funny because I also love this song from like from the stage perspective, from thinking about the stage for it is also, it's very good. So
the bubble.
Yeah, the bubble. It's so over the top, but I love it. The choreo for that, so good.
So good.
But
Oh
yeah,
my
no,
God.
I agree. This is one of those songs that I put on when I'm feeling all soft and smushy and want marshmallow feels. Yeah.
The song is just fluffy. It's so cute. It makes me feel so warm. Oh, for a lot of BTS's music, I use it like through emotional things. And with Serendipity, I'm like, okay, I can breathe. I'm alive.
Yeah.
I am loved and I love people too. I love other people as well. So this song reminds me a lot that I am not alone in the world. It's okay. Love surrounds me and I'm okay. All right, Kate, all you. Whatever
All right,
song you want to talk about.
yeah, we're doing favorite songs right now. So I'm gonna have a meta conversation about this first. But this was really hard for me because I absolutely love all of his stuff. All of his music. I love it so much. There's something interesting about both his choice in style of music, but also like his actual like tonal quality and stuff reminds me of a lot of the musicians I used to listen to in my youth, like in the 90s. So thinking about like grunge rock and some of the like kind of alt rock stuff that was happening in the 90s, there's a lot of like similarity in like the way he does his tonal quality, and his voice is very reminiscent of that. So it's almost a little bit nostalgic for me listening to some of his stuff. And then when you hear him live, it goes even further because he does a lot of growling and a lot of things that are just like very nostalgic for me. And it's also very hot, so we'll leave it at that. But yeah, so I am going to and then there's the beauty of the duality that is Park Jimin, because I'm going to talk about the opposite music. Okay. I decided after much difficulty, I'm going to talk about Face Off, and from his new album. And I'll say his whole Face album also, there's just something about the album that I don't know, I felt like I was like being split open. My chest cavity was just like ripped open when I first listened to the album. And then especially as I started digging into the lyrics, there's just something about his ability to capture and put a spotlight on some of the inner struggles about how to be a human in the world and how to portray yourself in the world and how to keep going when really crappy stuff is happening. And anyway, so I am obsessed with Face Off. I've been obsessed with it basically since the album came out. I can't tell you why in particular. Lyric wise, it's a little bit depressing because it's a very kind of angry, almost like the antithesis of what we were just talking about. It's like the antithesis of love in some respects. Anyway, I like this song because it's so angry. It reflects a lot of kind of some of my feelings when I am angry about certain things. So it's nice in that respect. And then I will say musically, Face Off musically for me, it opens with the like carnival circus music. And then it goes, so it's really interesting because it's the opening for the whole album. So it like opens with this kind of like, how do I put this? So it's opening with this hint that we are leaving some kind of normal and that we're going into some alternate reality. I don't know. Anyways, so it's just interesting because the whole album then is set, the tone is set by this first song. And then the actual musicality of the song is very gritty and very grungy, and I really just like the sound of it, and it really captures that kind of angry feeling really well. So anyway, I love the kind of duality of being able to listen to songs like Promise and then coming and hearing the song and just like getting eviscerated emotionally. It's my favorite.
Wow. That's so interesting because Face Off is actually my favorite song on the album.
I'm honestly really torn between Face Off and Set Me Free Part 2, but I was really torn when I was choosing between which one to talk about right now. Face Off for me though is like that kind of quintessential angry music that I put on when I need to just work through it and deal with things and pump myself up for stuff that's going to be hard. Whereas Set Me Free Part 2 is very meaningful to me lyric wise, and I just like the sound of it, but like lyric wise, but for like completely different reasons.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Face Off feels very much more confrontational. While Set Me Free Part 2 is he's releasing, he's letting go. But Face Off is he's looking straight in someone's face, and it's like in the lyrics where it's even if you test me, even though you kill me, even though you stab me harder, I don't care about you.
Yeah.
And that is a bar.
Yeah.
A bar, Kate.
Yeah. It's to me, it's like this whole thing, because if you just sit down and looked at the lyrics, you're like, man, this is an angry song. And wow, what has he gone through? And there's what is happening here? You're like, just like looking at lyrics, but then if you hear the song, he's just growling through. To get it out is he's growling through, get it out. And it's just, it adds this whole layer of just, I don't know, emotional evisceration. It's great.
Yeah. Because I feel like we see Jimin angry, but in a haha, little angry type of way. But in Face, we see him legitimately angry. And that is an experience, to say the least.
It certainly is. I would not ever want this sort of anger directed at me. I like that I get to experience it in parallel with him, but I don't. I'm glad it's not directed at me.
Which honestly, he has every right to be angry about whatever he wants to be angry about.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So many people have thrown bullshit his way, let's say, and I don't like that. And he has every right to be like, I gave you everything and you suck. He's so slay. Any final thoughts on Face Off, Kate?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Should we move into our favorite things about Jimin? The love of our life. The most beautiful soul in the world. He is the kindest, the most angelic, most wonderful person in the world. I love those video compilations where it's like Jimin taking care of the other members.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
He is just so gentle with everything in the world. I feel like if he was a flower, he would be like, this is gonna sound weird, but he would be a dandelion. Because he would be the most delicate thing in the world. I know like dandelions have bad connotations because they're weeds. But I don't know. As a kid, I found dandelions beautiful. Which is my own opinion to have. But I feel like he would be a dandelion. He's just so beautiful in his own regard and just so delicate, but also really tough because dandelions have really tough roots.
Yes.
And we do love the two sides of Jimin. We love his kindness, but we also love his sassiness and how he has that get stuff done type of attitude where if someone tries to stop him from doing something, he's like, I am speaking. I am doing this thing right now. You will not interrupt me. And I do love that about him.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I love Jimin just being sassy or just he knows his worth. So whenever people try to undermine him in any way, he's always, hold on. Wait a minute. And I do love that. It's like how he stands his ground whenever BTS are interviewed, ever. Even in the American interviews, even though he's one of the members who doesn't know English that well, he still stands his ground. Where he's still, you can see it in his face. If you look at his face while they're being interviewed, he's, hold on. So yeah, I love that about him. He's not afraid to be emotional or show his emotions in any capacity.
Yeah, I absolutely love that about him. The range of emotions too.
He's super expressive as a person. And I really appreciate that because as a woman, we both feel this. Emotions constantly invalidated.
Yeah, all the time.
If I get emotional, like for me, I'm involved in a lot of, I guess I'll just talk about like student government stuff. So I talk to a lot of professionals and a lot of administrators, and I am undermined all the time. And if I get angry or emotional or anything, then people giggle and laugh at me. Like sometimes I get so frustrated during a meeting, I'm just like, this sucks. And people just like giggle around me. And I'm just like, I'm actually legitimately mad. This is not a funny laughing matter. And it's just, I don't know. How do you feel about that, Kate?
I've been there. I don't know. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that it's interesting because it's like, it's not just Jimin, it's the whole, all of BTS have just done such a good job of showing healthy emotion about things, whether it's happiness or love, all the way through anger or being sad. And I think that that is just really nice to see out in very public places, because yeah, I do agree that a lot of the times especially as a woman going into any job, especially one where you have to have any kind of leadership role, you're not supposed to show emotions. That's frowned upon, or you're not supposed to. The first thing I was told as a professor was like, don't take on too much emotional labor with your students. I clearly failed at that completely, by the way.
Hi, Kate.
My bad. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know, it's just something interesting about living in this world of like toxic masculinity where we're not allowed to exist in certain ways and we're not allowed to feel our feelings. And it's nice to see people with platforms like actually showing healthy emotions and just, I don't know, especially when I still remember a time, I think last year on Twitter, we hadn't heard from Jimin in a long time. Like it had been, I don't know, it had been a while since he posted anything. And he posted something really sweet. And the whole timeline just erupted in like purple hearts, essentially. Like everybody was just like, oh my God, I love you too. And it was just like this like big old like sob fest of emotions. And it was just like really fascinating to me that just one little thing from him cascaded and made this whole soft, squishy mess on the timeline. And like from a community perspective, I think that's really, really cool that can happen. But also just from personal experience, it's just nice to have to see that kind of impact happening in real time. Anyway, yeah.
I feel the same way. It's Jimin, in my mind, is the emotional catalyst of BTS, where whenever there's something emotional, like you just look at him and he feels it too. Like during the PTD ending speeches that they do, you like, it's like it pans to each member, right? But you can also look at the other members, or people like record the other members' reactions. And I'm just looking at Jimin and I'm just like, man, he's feeling it too.
Yeah.
Like what I'm feeling in this moment. It's
For
just,
real.
oh, I love him. Our little calico cat. Oh, he's like the sweetest, again, most beautiful soul in the world, and very in tune with his emotions. It inspires me to be more in tune. We talked about this before, like BTS as role models.
Yeah.
And very much he inspires me to be more in tune with my emotions, because I've kind of accepted this where I will never be an emotionless person.
Yeah.
And there's actually a lot of my academic career I've also built off of being involved in student government. But I've come to learn that in order to be involved in student government, I'm expected to be emotionless, which I cannot be. Right. So very much, I don't know if anyone's listening to this and they know me from student government, but I'm going to take a step back from student government this year, actually, and just not be a part of that world anymore. Yeah. And not be a part of a lot of the activism that goes on in there, because it's, as a woman, you're expected constantly to not have emotion. And there's like times where I've told myself I wouldn't cry about something, but then I did cry about it, because it's very hard, right? It's very hard to see, especially, I'm not going to say exactly what happened, but like when you see students struggling, people whose voices aren't being heard, and you're trying so hard to have their voices heard and to advocate for them with the position you have. and then still getting shut down. It makes me so emotional, and I can't do that emotional labor forever.
Yeah. As someone who is a professor of many students who have struggled, I have learned to find places to put my emotions and to compartmentalize, and I cry a lot. Yeah, because it's hard. It's really hard. Especially when in the moment you have to be the person that is, doing the advocacy work. You need to sound like you're in control. And it's really hard to do that if you're crying. I have learned to take those moments where I can just be like, all right, I'm putting my administrative or my logistical or I'm going to deal with this emergency hat on. And then when I go home, I'm going to be a mess. And that's how I've learned to do that. But I do really love that I can come home and be a mess and be able to watch some of my BTS content and just feel soft and sad and have that.
No, that is so healthy though, because I don't do that. I just suppress forever and then I explode. It's very hard.
Might be worth working on that.
Yeah, work on that. But it's hard, like in university, to have space to decompress or like that, because I have roommates and
Right.
I appreciate my roommates a lot and I think they're great, but they're not my besties from childhood. They're not my family. And I remember there was this one time, this is very emotionally vulnerable, by the way, but there was this one time I was really upset about something that happened. And I told both my roommates, I was like, hey, I'm just gonna be crying in my bed right now, but don't mind me. But it's kind of uncomfortable because it's these people I don't know super duper well, and then I'm just crying, and then they can't do anything. I'm just like, just act like I'm not there.
My God.
Yeah. So that's how living in a dorm is, if anyone would like to know. Yeah. So I'm glad to have BTS though, and I'm glad to have Jimin. I am working on expressing myself and working through my emotions. It's very hard being an emotionally suppressed Asian person. I'm just saying.
I'm so glad that this podcast is serving a dual purpose for you.
Yes. Who needs therapy when you have a podcast? Podcast expensive. No, therapy expensive. Podcast free. Not really. This equipment's expensive.
The labor we're putting into this is slightly expensive.
Yeah, it's very expensive. Hours, Kate. But here we are. So yeah. That's some of our favorite things about Jimin. Kate, do you want to add anything else?
I will say that he was like the first person he was the reason I truly fell down the rabbit hole, in that I saw a bunch of edits of his dancing on TikTok. And I was like, oh, dancing. I want to know more. Because I danced for my whole childhood through high school. I did ballet and modern. So like I recognized him as, I'm like, oh, he is classically trained. I like could see it in his moves. And so I was like, I need to know more about this. So then I like devoured every available footage of his dancing. And then I eventually fell down the route, because then I was like, what about the other members? What are they up to? And here we are. But yeah, no, so it was just like, and it was just edits of him, like different edits of him dancing. And I actually then made a bunch of my own edits of his dancing, compilations of his dancing and stuff to music. And that was my introduction to the fandom. But yeah, so like I will say that I absolutely like just him as a classically trained dancer. I just am very impressed by the fact that he isn't just a singer, right? That he is also like really good as a lyrical dancer. And yeah, I think that's the other thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, he's a performer, an artist, and also really cool to watch dancing. His dance lines are incredible.
Yeah, oh my God, he's so good. And like
I'm
all
not.
his tumbling and stuff, especially his stuff with all his tumbling. I made a TikTok edit. It was one of my most seen TikTok videos of him just tumbling, just all the tumbling he did.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Just so elegant. His pointed feet, oh, to die for.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't come from a classically trained dance background. I come from a musical theater dance background.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to talk about jazz dance and doing flips, I can talk about that. Oh my god. I have a side story, but I remember I was supposed to do this flip over this one guy in dance for the performance. We're like 1,000 people in the audience.
Oh my god.
And I did not get that flip down till a week before the performance actually was going to happen. My dance instructor, she wanted me to do it so bad. And she believed in me so much, but that straight up, Kate, I've done so many difficult things in my life, but that hands down most difficult thing I've ever done in my life, actually. Because I was doing it over this guy. So it was like I'm doing it over his body. And if I don't get the angle right, I'm gonna crash into him. And it's not me only toppling over, it's him toppling over too. Oh. And it's like I flipped over him and then he picked me up. So it's like, sorry, high school dance stuff, crazy. I don't know why that was so difficult, but I literally flipped over him and then he picked me up right afterward and he like twirled me around or something. And just dance is crazy. But Jimin makes it look effortless. Yes. We do love Jimin, but who we don't like, you want to know who we don't like? Jimin's solo stands. I'm a hater. I love Jimin, and I hate that solo stands have to be associated with him. I talked about this in the Jungkook episode, but just, oh my god, they're devils. They're demons. They are like the most disgusting, like catty, rude, just drama-filled people.
So much drama. And for what?
For what? Just because you act like I'm so much better. I love Jimin so much. No, you don't. Jimin would burn you to keep the other BTS members warm. I feel like I'm going to say that every episode now.
Yeah.
But actually, he would. He's one of the members who would actually do it. Okay?
Yeah.
He would not hesitate. Because Jimin, he is like the sweetest person alive. But then the solo stands that claim to love him are just evil.
It's true. I've crossed them a few times on Twitter and it's not pretty. Don't recommend. Do not recommend engaging.
Same. They are just nasty. They're filled with so much anger. And you can feel it whenever they jump you or try to dogpile you. I think Jimin's solo stands have said the most, how do I say this? Threats that involve finality of life to me. And they don't just dogpile you, they like come to your DMs too.
Yeah, they're in your DMs. They like it's a little scary.
Yeah, they get very aggressive because a lot of times they think they're not doing anything wrong and it's no, you are. Like I remember the clothes issue where they were auctioning off the unwashed clothes.
Oh gosh, yeah. I was just explaining that to someone the other day. We should explain that. It was
okay. So in 2021, I believe.
Yeah, I don't remember when. It was after, because it was outfits from PTD. What was it outfits from?
Oh my god, we gotta look this up. Oh, yes, it's from April 2021. Wow, a lot of things happened in April 2021.
That was a
crazy bad month. Hey, at least it's not May. May is the worst. Every year, May is the worst. Don't know why. Anyways, to give some context, BTS had performed on Jimmy Fallon. They had a bunch of performances lined up for a whole week. And one of the songs they performed was Idol. And the outfits from that performance were being auctioned off. But the outfits were not washed before they were auctioned off. And a lot of people found that really weird.
It
And
was like it's extra weird because somebody, it was like, I can't remember the details, but somebody associated with the sale somehow was like using it as a sale point. That's when it got really weird.
yeah, oh, here, this quote, Kimuryo. That's my best pronunciation. I don't speak Korean. I speak a different Asian language. But, quote, he says, "This outfit is touched and worn by Jimin. I didn't even wash it. These are the clothes that still keep Jimin's sweat and fragrance of that day." Ugh! The auction company was the My Art auction. So they were auctioning off these clothes, and then armies were like, this is gross, this is weird,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then Jimin solo stands, they try to justify it. They're like, no, this is good. This is normal. First off, it's not normal to auction off unwashed clothes.
It's like it's not like unheard of. There's been like sales of other, especially people who are not alive anymore, like sales of their clothes, untouched, unwashed clothes. But it's still super weird. I don't want to, it's like one of those things, it's like, why would you want to normalize that?
Jimin solo stands, they try to use examples of other auctions where unwashed clothes from celebrities were being auctioned off. And I don't know, you can have your opinion on that, but I still think that's weird and disrespectful to the person. Especially a lot of the examples that Jimin solo stands gave were of dead musicians whose clothes were being auctioned off.
Right.
A whole other layer of respecting the dead, by the way. You could be whatever, I don't want to say crazed fan. We're not saying crazed fan here, but you can be whatever type of person you want to be, but owning a piece of clothing that is unwashed for someone who's dead, very weird. It also very weird to use to justify for why Jimin's unwashed clothes should be auctioned.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there are like cultural things here that don't translate well because I think different cultures treat things differently. But I think as a like, I feel as a general rule, as army, we can be like, yeah, that's weird and crossing the line that maybe we don't want to cross. Which is what the feeling I got from my timeline, anyways. Of everybody's, yeah, no, X on this. Let's not. This is super weird. Let's not do this.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's weird how people try to make it seem normal, where it's, oh, it's normal to have unwashed clothes auctioned off, and to make it a selling point that it's not washed.
And I guess for me, I'm sitting here, okay, I don't care if this was the status quo and this is how every clothing option up until now has been done. None of that matters to me. Would we really want this for BTS? Would we really want this for Jimin? And I think the answer is no, I would hope. So let's like, why would we want to keep normalizing it? Let's be the change in the world that we want to see.
Yeah. No, that's so army of us though, to always be like, you know what, this old fandom practice, I don't like it anymore. Yeah. Actually, let's stop doing that. No, but that's what happened with airport pictures, I remember, because it used to be really accepted, especially I remember in 2020 when I first joined. But one of my moots was actually the first person on army Twitter to set off the domino effect of us not accepting airport pictures anymore. She did it in, I believe, 2021, 2022 sometime. And it was like just one day. I believe it was like a Yoongi airport, like when he was coming for some reason, and he was traveling or something. And one day she just started questioning. She was like, hey, aren't airport photos like as bad as Sasang photos? And she just started questioning it. And then I like read what she was talking about, and I was like, you're right. I always think about that thread she made. I'm not gonna say specifically who it is, out of respect, but she like made this thread about, hey, isn't airport photos like the exact same thing as Sasang? It's still, but it's like by the K media. It's by media forces that also stalk the members.
Because there's, the way I see it is, we should not have access to their private schedules. That is not our place to have access to their private schedules. And the only time I am aware of them flying someplace, theoretically, is when they have posted a picture of themselves flying someplace. And normally when they are doing that, it is like after they've already gone through the airport or some other, and they don't do it every time, right? And sometimes they'll do it like after they already get back, and they'll be like, I'm back. happy to be home, whatever. So those are the only times I'm aware of them traveling at all, and it should stay that way. I don't need to have an announcement every time they're like off to Paris or New York or whatever. They didn't give me that information, so I should not have it. And so therefore, any pictures I see of them in those places automatically become pictures that are taken on their private schedule because they weren't announced to me.
Yeah. I think about this quote really often, where I think it was like a member who was asking the K media people that were there at the airport. And they're like, "Oh, how'd you find us?" And then the K media person was like, "Oh, you're BTS. We'll always find you." Something like that. And that is the most terrifying thing in the world.
Yeah.
To think that this goes back to Jimin as well in the clothes auction, but BTS and their autonomy, their humanity as people,
yeah,
constantly stripped from them.
Yeah.
Like, where people just, this goes back to the solo stand conversation as well. Solo stands only see the members as objects.
Yeah.
Or a means to achieve something.
Right.
It's the whole savior mentality, or the whole thing about how solo stands, they champion achievements over the member. So right now we see, because THEE's layover isn't released yet as of this recording, and we see a lot of THEE solo stands who are so angry right now about the release of the album, and they're like, this release isn't good because it's not chart optimal or whatever, and it's not like releasing all the songs at once to chart well, and like solo stands don't value the members in their art, just straight up. And they're constantly trying to underplay the members' art. And they blame the company, and they blame armies, and they blame everyone else imaginable around them. But they never directly say they blame the member for something. Because really what they're mad at, majority of the time, especially this clothes auction thing, what they're mad at is the member themselves. But they never say that. The reason a lot of Jimin solo stands don't like the way Jimin released Face, or don't like the way that the Face album was conducted or whatever. A lot of times when they talk about that, really you're just mad at Jimin, but they can't say that.
Right.
And just, I hate them. They suck. Ugh. And you know what I especially, oh my god, I need to talk about this. You know what I especially hate about Jimin solo stands, and just solo stands in general? It's like when it comes to photocards and the merchandise secondary market for BTS.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Kate. If I was ever in a room with hype people or big hit people, the first thing I would talk about is the secondary merch market. Push all the other things to the side. We need to fix this problem. Because they're missing out on money. They're missing out on investment. They're basically devaluing a lot of the merch by having such a predatory secondary market. And Jimin, I believe, let me pull this up really quick. He had the third most expensive photocard to ever be sold. It was for the Butterful Night event, which was like a lucky draw, and it was like only 420 people have that photocard. And that photocard went for $1,432. And that is, I'll say it, that is insane. And the people driving that market, the predatory secondhand photocard market, the people driving that are solo stands. Because those are people who only want photocards of that member.
Right.
They're not happy with photocards of other members. And a side note as well, that's also why I'm particularly angry at album unboxings, when people get mad at the member they pull.
Yeah. I remember the first time I saw one of those, and the person just was like, "Oh," and they just threw the card away, and I was like, "Can you just hand it to me? I'll take it for you."
Yeah.
Like, why? Anyway, I was a little shocked.
I can't watch album unboxings anymore because of that. It's such an ick. It's so gross. Because people aren't happy with the cards they're getting, and they don't love all the members, they go towards the secondary predatory merchandise market, and they try to buy photo cards of those members, but then people up the price of the photo cards of the more popular members, so that was when it's more expensive. Because very obviously, you can see the prices change. Okay, I'll talk about this. I've recently collected every single Map of the Soul Persona version 2 photo card because I wanted all the version 2s, because that's, I believe, the bathroom mirror one where they're all in the bathroom taking pictures, and I think they're all cute in that line, right? The cheapest member was Namjoon. You want to know how expensive Namjoon was?
Go ahead and tell me.
He was $2.
No. Oh.
You want to know how expensive Jungkook was?
No.
He was $18 to get him. And I scoured. I could not even find that many listings for it, which is so weird because it's like a common photo card.
Yeah.
Because it's from one you get from an album. But there wasn't that many listings, and it was also really expensive. I could have just bought an album at that point. But I really wanted photo cards. See, I'm contributing to the market too. I know I'm criticizing it, but also I'm contributing to it because I wanted the Jungkook. I wanted the complete set. I wanted all 7.
Yeah.
It's just so disheartening to see this market just run itself. And it perpetuates solo stan narratives. It creates a really predatory secondary merchandise market that people participate in. And there's also a lot of financial issues with it. This is going to be, people are going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but essentially the secondary market, it steals money from BTS.
Yeah.
Like,
that's just math. That's not crazy. That's math.
Yeah, just math. Because first off, just a preface, there's a difference between selling albums you no longer want on the secondary market. Let's say you need to make some cash, things are hard, you're selling off your albums. That's fine. But there are people who specifically buy a lot of albums, overconsumption, by the way, buy a lot of albums. So that way they can then resell the photo cards and make back their money.
Right.
And that just perpetuates so many issues. And it's just a continuous cycle that if companies just made photo cards you can buy individually, it would destroy that market. And honestly, I've seen people talk about this, like even doing photo cards, like how a lot of trading card game companies do cards where they just put it in packets.
Yeah.
And you can buy that packet separately. And those packets are randomized, but at least you're not doing the same amount of waste as a full album every single time.
Right.
So just things to consider, honestly. How do you feel about it, Kate?
No, I totally agree. And I think it's like, to me, okay, so I'll say that coming into this fandom, I keep saying this over and over again, I didn't know anything about anything. I didn't know what a photo card was. Okay. So coming into this fan, I had no idea what any of it. So trying to get my head around, I was like, so you mean to tell me that you spend $30 or whatever on an album for a random chance at a random photo card? It was, I actually thought I was losing my mind because I was like, so people are buying like stacks of these things just for the single cards inside. And now me 3 years later trying to explain that to other people, and I'm like, yeah, I realize this sounds crazy, but this is how this all works. And I think that I just like to me the whole thing is fascinating. I do agree that there could be better ways. I love the idea of having official, because you can go on and get the like third-party photo card decks, right? And like, why doesn't Hive just do that themselves? And then it would cut out that third party. I also think that you see this with a lot of merch, but all the third-party sites that sell them, so they go on and they buy a bunch of the merch and then resell it on their sites and are taking their cut. And so people buying from there instead of going to Weverse, I think is also like highly problematic. But yeah, no, I think it's really interesting, especially for me, enculturating myself in this, because I understood trading cards. I grew up playing trading card games, and I understood the value in rare cards and stuff. I totally get it. But I do think it's interesting the way in which the photo cards then are tied specifically to music in a really interesting way of, okay, are people here for the music or are they just here for their faces? And I start getting a little bit like, what's going on here, guys?
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up trading card games. I know I brought it up earlier as well, but I feel like with trading card games, there's reasons for rarity, or
Right.
there's like intrinsic value in the card and how that card plays in the trading card game. But
Right.
for K-pop photo cards, it's these photo cards are just expensive because they're rare or
Right.
they're not in print anymore. And then because they're not in print anymore, then people make it super predatory and selling photo cards for like thousands of dollars.
Right.
And it's a piece I don't want to devalue. Honestly, I have a stance on this and I want to stay strong on this. A photo card is a piece of paper. The value that we give to a photo card does not exist, really. It is completely made up and imaginary. Like, I was explaining this to my sibling who's super into Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Right? And Yu-Gi-Oh! Has like trading card, like grading. Right? But, and then they were like, oh, is that a thing in K-pop? I'm like, no, but people try to act like it is.
Right.
They try to act like trading, like these are trading cards. They're not trading card photo cards. These photo cards, they're just pictures of faces.
Yeah, literally.
I could go to Staples and make this right now. And it's insane how out of control the market has become. And it very much is a result of K-pop companies trying to manufacture popularity through like album sales and try to act like, oh, members are so popular, like these groups are so popular, they have so many albums, but really it doesn't match up. We've talked about this before, like how a lot of groups sell a lot of albums, but they don't get that many streams.
Right.
And that is because there are a million different photo card versions people are trying to collect.
Right.
And it's gotten out of control. And I cannot stand for it. How do you feel about that, Kate? How do you feel?
No, I totally agree. And like I said, the whole concept was really baffling to me. I will add, though, that the photo cards that I have that have come in albums, I do acknowledge that I have an emotional attachment to them. And you can see it. The listeners can't see it, but you can see my giant wall of merch behind me. So it's not like I'm not taking a stance of, oh, don't buy this stuff.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Find value in it. But I agree that there is a difference between having something, a special memento inside the album versus this really weird, ultra competitive market for pieces of the album, if that makes sense. So I think we're saying the same thing here. Yeah, imagine there's 17 versions of an album and you have to get like multiple copies of those versions to get the one card you want to have or whatever, right? And that ends up creating this huge stack of, it's a lot. But I think it's interesting when we see some of the albums that BTS has released, at least more recently in my living memory here, being in the fandom, of not a ton of different versions and being able to get all the members, and there's differences. And I've also seen, it's been really nice, like when we went to we were at the D-Day concerts, and my friends and other people in the line had brought albums with them to just hand out for free. And so there's that sort of thing too, of, I have extra of this, who still needs one? And so there's a different ethos there, right? Of just buying to have this one little tiny piece of paper versus like having the whole album experience and having this kind of, it's not about making money, which is like where I think it's really weird, because then when you start talking about that secondary market, it's like people are doing this just to make money off of it, which starts to get in this really weird gray area for me.
Yeah. I have very strong feelings about the predatory nature of the market, and how there's people who have the audacity to list a photo card for triple the price of an album. And this is a common photocard. This is a photocard you can pull from an album. And they price it for $30. That is insane. I have a THEE photocard from Map of the Soul 7 version 2. And there's people who list it for $30, $40 on eBay in Macari. And I'm like, I pulled this from an album. It doesn't, in my head, it doesn't make sense why we are putting these price. Also, I know a lot of people don't like the fact that I revealed how much the Namjoon photocard costs compared to the Jungkook photocard. I know a lot of people aren't happy with that because, again, it stokes the anger behind a lot of solo stans. They get mad because they're like, why isn't Namjoon more expensive? Why is Jungkook so expensive?
Right.
And again, it creates this whole thing, just this whole issue. And a lot of people don't see the issue with like how merch contributes to solo stan narratives, but it very much does. And as long as this predatory secondary market exists, we are going to be having this issue. That's why I really believe that Big Hit and Hybe is a big enough company where we saw like School Love Affair Special Edition. It got reprinted. We need reprints of older things. We need reprints of those things. We cannot keep allowing this market to exist because there are so many problems in this market. And also, I feel like the company itself, just from a business perspective, you're losing out on money. Every time there is another purchase on the secondary market, you are missing out on dollars.
Yeah.
And let me be real here. The secondary market for K-pop is huge.
Yeah.
Actually. And if we start talking about trading and how K-pop photocard trading works, huge. It's just, I don't understand why it's like this and why we continue to let it be like this. I'm taking a stand, Kate. I'm taking a stand.
We can be the change we want to see in the world.
Yeah. We're gonna be those armies.
That's right.
Who are on the TL, and when we see people be upset about which member they pull, we're like, is there a problem with that? It's like, I need to talk about this really quick, but it's like people, I saw this on TikTok, happening on TikTok. People started to call pulling Jin from an album the Jin curse.
What?
Nasty.
For some reason, so many thoughts for them. So many thoughts.
But for some reason, I think this is just skewed data in general. People who are just pulling Jin are banding together and saying they pulled Jin and calling it the Jin curse. I don't think there's actual disparity in the number of photocards distributed. Because for some reason, I always pull Suga. Don't know why. It just happens because it's all randomized.
Right.
Okay. I don't think there's a conspiracy in Big Hit that somehow there's more photocards of this member than this member. Okay? I don't think that's true. Just telling. I don't know. Maybe there'll come a lawsuit someday that it is true. And then at that time, I'll be like, okay, I'll take the L on that. Right? But it's insane how people like pull Jin and then they call it like a curse to pull him. Like, how solo stanny weird is that?
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel about that, Kate?
Thanks. I hate it. I really hate it, actually. I think that that's do they hear themselves talking? Probably not.
Probably not. I don't know. I remember when I started seeing videos like that, I was horrified. It's like, why would you ever see pulling a certain member as a curse?
No, yeah, that's terrible. And I think that there's an interesting pathway here to having a discussion on another podcast, because I know we're already like basically at an hour now. But there's an interesting pathway here to talking about the kind of the cultural expectation of talk about bias and, oh, I want to pull my bias is like the opposite of that. Of, oh, I keep pulling the other members when I want to pull my bias. It's like a slippery slope right there towards other things that we can discuss in a future episode.
We could talk about biases in a future episode. Yeah. Write that down. Writing it down right now. Okay. Because I'm one of those people, I've talked about this on Twitter actually, but I've made a conscious decision now. to remove the word bias from my vocabulary in Army. I'm not going to say I have a bias. I'm not going to even acknowledge the word bias or ask for people's biases. And I'm not going to look down on people who do, right? But I'm making a conscious decision on my part to just stop using the word bias and stop saying, oh, I'm OT7. Because by being an Army, you are default OT7. Yeah. You're not an OT7 Army, you're just an Army. That's just my conscious thing. I don't know. The copium. I'm doing that. I approve. I keep doing this thing where I'm just like, hey guys, this week, this is what I'm on. And then all my mutuals are like, she's gonna do another thing, and we're here. But yes, that's how I feel about it right now. But we'll talk more about it in another episode. Yay! All right, so any final thoughts for the entirety of this podcast?
Happy birthday, Jimin!
Happy birthday! I really want to sing the members happy birthday in Korean, but maybe when my Korean gets better, we can start to do that.
We'll circle back around to that.
We'll circle back around. Because I have the rhythm and the main sounds of the Korean words, but I just need to put it together. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, happy birthday, Jimin. We love you. He is the most amazing person in the world. The most wonderful, the most incredible, the most talented also. We love Jimin. Yes. But yeah, that's us talking about Jimin. Solo stands, we hate them, and photocards. We also hate the photocard market. I don't hate photocards. I just hate the photocard market.
I gotta say, I love my photocards. I have a deep emotional, like I have this one of Jimin, oddly enough, right here on my keyboard that I keep with me all the time. That
is so cute. Oh, I have the pink hair Jimin photocard from Persona version 2, the bathroom one. And then I have a My Melody photocard holder.
Oh, cute.
So I put Jimin in the My Melody photocard holder.
Oh my gosh.
And that's how I go out into the world.
That's nice.
Yeah, we don't hate the photocard. We hate how they're distributed and then redistributed.
Yes.
So don't hate the merch. Hate how the merch is circulated. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. That's this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember to stream Jimin's music, stream Face, stream like crazy, stream literally like crazy, stream Serendipity, stream Lie, stream Filter, stream Promise, stream all his other songs, and all his songs with a vocal line. Just stream everything Jimin, because we love Jimin. Yes. And happy birthday, Jimin. We love you so much. So much. I don't know why I sang there. Anyway. Okay, bye guys. Bye.